So I've heard a lot of people, oh, we're going to lose jobs, we're going to lose jobs, And I've told my team, I says, no, you're not going to lose your job, but I will replace you if you don't learn AI. I'm the evil one, not AI. I'm the one who's going to get rid of you. If you don't learn this stuff and start to apply it on behalf of my members, if you dominate that, I will pay any amount of money to hire if you're good at that stuff. I don't care. I just need that talent as much as I can get.
Hello and welcome to Media Snack Winners, the fast-paced podcast interview show where we get to meet the individuals and organizations doing great work to inspire success and drive change through the global media and marketing industry. On Media Snack Winners, we get to learn what is behind that success, what it takes to make change in the industry, and what the rest of us can learn from those experiences. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Media Snack Winners. I'm so happy to have as my guest today, Greg Stuart, who is the CEO of the non-profit trade association, the MMA. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? Good to talk to you today.
Very good. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get a bit of an insight into what a trade association is for marketers and how you run one successfully, and what it is that inspires you. So let's start off. Introduce us to the MMA, well, you and the MMA. What do you do and what does it take to win as a trade association?
Okay. Well, listen, Tom, those who know me a lot obviously don't, is that I've actually now turned around two of these things. So I turned around the IAB back in 2001 when, we all thought internet advertising was dead. At least that's what, dopes told us at the time. Hard to believe that ever happened. And in fact, online ad spending was $8 billion at the time, which is hilarious given where it is today. But the IB was in deep in trouble, and the board asked me to step in and try to turn around. Same situation happened here. This was originally the Mobile Marketing Association. We've now changed this. Now we just go by MMA, and we're about to announce, I'll tell you if you listen to here at some point, but we're about to change sort of what the meaning of MMA is. But this one also was deeply in debt. We were $4.5 million in revenue, $3 million in membership. It was called membership deficits, negative net equity. It basically means you're going to, you're insolvent and you're going to die any minute, which the auditors remind me repeatedly. And we turned it around, and now we're $20 million in revenue. I'm about to take on another $15, $20 million because we sold the Possible event last year. So, everything's in good shape. But back to the core of the question. I never wanted to run trade associations. I never saw it as my thing to do. And in fact, when the founder CEO of CNET, Shelby Bonney, asked me to run the IB temporarily, I said, yeah, Shelby, just temporarily. I don't want to run a trade association. That would be the dumbest effing thing I could do. Were my exact words. I still remember now, 20 years later. What I didn't get, though, was a sense of mission and purpose that you have to create positive change in the world. And so ultimately what I'm doing, what my career's turned into, which I did not see, is that I'm creating legacy, not just even for myself, but for the industry at large. And that's kind of cool. And there's a sense of mission and purpose that drives us every day, and everybody here at the MMA, which we're now 100 employees, to really dramatically change the fortunes of marketers and CMOs. That's the whole focus of the thing. How do we give more stature and gravitas to CMOs and marketers? I didn't get that. And at the same time, I have to successfully run a business because, as I said, if we don't do that, then you end up in trouble. Yeah. I mean, you've been around trade groups.
Yeah. No, we love them. We're massive advocates of that. And I know that we share, your members are our clients, and lots of your members are our clients. And they hugely value the forums, the safe spaces that you can give them, and the learning opportunities. So, this is why I was excited to actually get under the skin a little bit of trade association, because they play an incredibly important role in the success of the industry.
They can. Okay, so I think a lot of people undervalue it. Tom, I think they don't recognize how important they are. But yeah,
no, good. And listen, congratulations to you, because MMA is turned into an incredible force in the industry.
We appear to be legit, correct?
Fine, good. I like that. You've done lots of wonderful things. You've just told us about two really important turnarounds of trade associations and kind of keep those important things alive. What, other than that, in your career, tell us something what is it that you're most proud of that you've achieved so far?
Okay. So I'll tell you the thing I'm most proud of, by the way, and I'm going to make it personal for a moment because I think it's important. We don't mention that enough. My daughter, when she was a teenager, got into a lot of trouble, as happens with teenagers. And she credits me with saving her life. So let's be really clear. That was the most important thing I did in life. No question about it.
Brilliant.
As it comes to business, it's what I said kind of before there, right? Like these are legacy making opportunities. So I co-founded multi-touch attribution. That's kind of cool. I needed a new way to measure in the marketing mix. Rex Briggs, who's brilliant, genius level brilliant, had come up with a new methodology that allowed us to measure. It's now at the time we didn't call it MTA, but now we do, to measure internet and small media and marketing mix. That wasn't possible with media mix modeling. So that's a revolution. I'm a huge believer in MTA, and it still really works, although there's some negativity out there, and I know where that came from. That's a whole nother story. But I also, the whole viewability standard that we talk about all the time in digital, I wrote that standard. There had been 5 previous attempts. They had all failed. And I stepped in and figured out that the way to go out there was not to ask the marketers how to measure, because all due respect to marketers, they don't understand the guts of the business like that. What it took was going to the technologists who controlled it. There were 29 ad serving technology in the world. I called every one of those CEOs, and except for 2 of them, they all agreed to work with me on an international standard for measuring ad impressions. And to express that it was a cluster, I don't know, are we a clean podcast? Can we say? I don't know.
You go for it.
It was a clusterfuck of epic proportions. You didn't know when you ran a campaign, because we measured this with PwC, you didn't know if you got 100% more impressions or 50% less than you thought. So if you bought a $10 million campaign, you didn't know if it was in essence $5 million of inventory or $20 million. You had no idea. And there was so much shenanigans and bullshit around that, and nobody understood it. And even the technologists, I can tell you stories on and on. I talked to the CTOs of those tech companies. We didn't have any idea. But we, over the course of about 18 months, 2 years, working with a consortium of industry people, we got the industry to agree to the basic measure of impression measure, which didn't get us to understanding the value of it, but it did allow for money to move. You have to fix the currency is the first thing to do in any industry. So I think that, and listen, there's legacy stuff here at the MMA. My proudest work here is the work we're doing on marketing. We can tie marketing organizational decisions to increases in sales or what organizational changes will decrease sales. For a fact, it's crazy. And we think all targeting and segmentation is wrong. I can tell you the value of brand now. The list goes on, and I can tell you what the value of AI personalization is. We have so much work here that we do to try to really improve the value of marketing. That I think each of those have legacy making. I don't know that I knew MTA was legacy making when I did it, by the way. I was just trying to solve a problem that was immediate. It turned out to be a much bigger issue. Yeah.
Very good.
Fun.
Very good. These are amazing gifts to the industry. So appreciate that. We've still got problems that we're facing though. So I wanted to, the next question is really just to kind of try and understand what in your view, because you have quite a unique view across the industry.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges for media? I know that you deal with CMOs and you look kind of broadly across marketing, but media is obviously a big concentration of their investments and the complexities and the headaches sometimes. What do you think are the big challenges in from that view of the domain of a trade association?
Yeah, listen, this is a very interesting question. So by the way, my background is I was originally an agency media strategist. So that's what I did for the first 10 years or so of my career, worked specifically on Procter & Gamble. So I feel like I have a lot of knowledge. As I told you before, I wrote the impression measurement guidelines, and I've always dealt with MTA as a media thing. So I love the dynamics of media, and it's interesting how important it's become to marketers. In fact, I'm going to get off track here, Tom, sorry. We actually believe that there is nothing wrong with brand, but that marketers are so badly executing their media strategies, they are crushing the value of otherwise could have been positive campaigns. Now, that's an extraordinarily aggressive statement, but we've seen this now over the last year. We've been doing a series of studies around a growth framework we call movable middles. And it's really validating that we have been so wrong in targeting that we're killing campaigns that could have built a business. Yeah. We're destroying value at an epic proportion. Okay. So that was, again, kind of a great statement. So what was the question? Is there anything that goes beyond that? Listen, there's so many issues. We still suck at measurement. There's no unified knowledge. We've written analysis on, MMA has put out a paper about, what is the measurement, what is measurement quality? Because I got asked that question by the CMO of Best Buy, Frank Cross, and asked me, said, Greg, is there a standard for quality measurement? We said, there isn't. We wrote it. But we as an industry don't agree. I don't think, as I just said, we understand targeting segmentation. For years, we did demographics, then we did behavioral targeting, sometimes that's just sales. We think the answer for better targeting is rooted in neuroscience. I've not yet heard anybody in the world say that, but and I'm not just saying that casually, like, hey, I've got a new thought. It's that we have been doing studies for 5 years against a growth framework. It also gets to another big question for marketers. Do they even understand fundamental growth frameworks? There are 3. Name them for me. I've never had a marketer yet who can tell me what the 3 primary growth frameworks are. So the issue for us is not just media's challenges, some of which I've identified there, and I could keep going on that list again and again, or keep going on with that. The challenge is that we as marketers, and this is a whole thesis of the MMA, we don't believe marketing is a profession. Because a profession means you are educated to be in it, you're re-educated, and you're probably certified. But nobody in this business is. We're all just doing our best to make it up. Now, we're smart people, and there's good thinking, but there's a lot of misleading thinking. And, listen, all professions were there at one point. Buildings collapsed because architects didn't know what they're doing at one point. They fixed it. Medical profession killed people through bloodletting. They fixed it, So there's a lot of work for us to do, and that's what the MMA is focused on.
I love that. This is great. I'm gonna be playing this back, and I think I'm like painting some of these statements on the wall because they're evergreen and timeless and massive challenges.
I'm aiming for like sofa pillows. That's what I want my quotes on sofa pillows, Tom. That's what.
That's a low bar. Okay.
Well, I have little to live for. That
So tell us. I mean, it's interesting. As you've shared with us already some of the dynamics of a trade association. What's the current state of trade of the kind of trade association of a business, if we can kind of think of it that way? Because there's always these like pop-up things that come and go, and you mentioned Possible, which has been a phenomenal success the last few years. Various different events and some that people know and some are kind of more niche. Is that a thriving community in a business?
This is probably the thing you and I could sit around, coffee for hours some Sunday morning to try to sort of figure out and assess, given both your experience and mine. Here's the way. Listen, all industries, all function of industries have a trade body. Sometimes it's a professional society for individuals. Sometimes it's for me as a corporate trade association, or the MMA as a corporate trade association. I do, there's a very famous guy out of Harvard wrote a book a few years ago called Bowling Alone. It was basically talking about how society is not really not working together, not getting together in the same way they used to. It's kind of dismal. And I think it suggests in some regards that trade associations could be challenged over time. Although what's funny, all homes are now in homeowners associations. So, they're collecting someplace on it. I think the best way to address the question, the thing I would communicate to people, and here's the experience none of you will have, few of you will have, is that when you get to a certain later part of your career, if you do not have friends, if you do not have people you have worked with, if you've not built a body of people that will vouch for you, your career is dead. It usually happens right about 50. And I've watched men in particular, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to women, I've not noticed. I just noticed the men I know, that if you're not working, you cannot get a job at a certain point in time unless somebody who's related, knows them, or understand, can vouch for you. So trade associations are a great way to do that. It's an incredible, worst case scenario, it's an insurance for you into futures. I think more importantly, where do you think I don't publish everything I do. The conversations we have are real at the moment, the time. That's what the board loves the most, is these CMOs come together and talk about what's the state of my business, my industry, my knowledge. And you don't get it. I mean, I love Ad Age and Ad Week, but you don't get from the trade press. They don't have any goddamn idea what's going on. They're just making shit up that's current, that's relevant to them, but it's not getting to the fundamentals of the industry. I think you only get that from the peer conversations that happen in trade group. So, obviously I'm an advocate, So,
but it's thriving. I mean, it feels like it's buoyant. I mean, even post-pandemic,
more groups. You think there's more groups than ever?
Yeah, but also I think to these points, and there may be some much wider socio-economic, political reasons.
I'm
that
surprised,
people just want
Tom,
to associate and hang out a bit more than maybe we thought we would in the digital age.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's two types of people in the world. There's people like you and I who are joiners. I'm a joiner. I belong to 3 other trade bodies in addition to now running the MMA. I pay a lot of attention to that. You have led a trade. You read the IAA, so you understand this. You appreciate it. You respect what the role that it can play. And I've seen a lot of people build their entire businesses and industries off the backs of these things. I mean, it's great. It's and here's the thing. Remember, I'm not a charity. My job is to make a group of people fucking rich. That's the goal. It is not here to be necessarily nice. Although I love the community, I love the relationships, I love the people, but it's all about really making a class or group of people, tilting the world in their direction in some way, in some favor. For the MMA, it's trying to improve how we do marketing, because we think that's what the answer is. Other trade groups do regulatory, they do much of. But yeah, I think it's important. Well, I'm encouraged to hear you think that more people feel like a sense of joy. And I'm always surprised, shocked the people I meet who never got involved at all in their industry.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I don't get it.
I wonder. Yeah. I think my universe is full of people who think like that. So, I just assume everybody's part of these things already because everybody's a great fan and advocate of this.
Well, because the other people got fired and they lost their jobs because they didn't know what's going on. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. No one's ever heard of them. Right. Let's get on to the AI. How's that? I mean, it's obviously on the front mind of marketers and all of your members. It must come up in all of your association meetings. But just again, from your just unique perspective, because you're the CMO whisperer and you're in the room with these people and you probably hear their really candid views of it, not what they say on stage or what they say to their people. Yeah. Can you summarize easily what broadly marketers or CMOs are thinking about AI?
Yeah. I think there is a certain, it's a low level of panic. And I want to be careful because I don't think CMOs panic. That's not in their nature to get to that level. That's not what you do. But I think there is great concern, and I live with it too myself. It's like, are we moving fast enough? Are we getting enough done? Do we have enough tests? Have I organized this in the right way? Am I thinking about the right opportunities? Do I understand? The problem, the whole thing's moving so darn fast. Listen, we just had a board meeting. We produced full-on 30-second video ads with no human intervention, except for approvals, completely from just a creative brief and a product ad. That was it. It created the ad on its own completely. And they were near ready to run in television. 6 months from now, absolutely. So, I've said on stage a lot, and nobody's challenged me, is that, it is inevitable that all creative content will be created by AI and all ads will be placed by AI. It is inevitable. So what are we doing now to learn how to get there? So I think we feel that, but, it's hard. It's unclear. It changes. It moves. I'm sympathetic, and as I run a business too, I'm sure you have the same struggle, right, Tom? I don't know. What do you tell your team and staff to do around, and how do you guys organize in the company around it?
Well, internally, I mean, I agree with the inevitability. I think that's a really good start point because you have to say it's not if but when, and then there's a journey to that, and then the optimists in us as entrepreneurs is, well, we will, as long as we have to stay on top of the ocean, right? Well, however big the waves are, we kind of build and prepare and stay on top of that. And so we've got to anticipate, the value. We're an advisory and an analytics business, so and an independent and objective view of the industry. So if that's being revolutionized with AI, then our value to marketer is helping them see and understand and make decisions in that world. So I think we evolve with it. We're going on that wave. What we can do is empower our people to use those as tools to just make them better. We're a service business that's built upon technology platform. So I think as a general business, I'm very happy and confident and optimistic. Who knows? We could all get decimated, as you say, by robots within 2 years, and then we'll have to do something else. But I think this is something that we really lean into as a business, and I think it's very good for us as coaches and mentors and creators and people that inspire. I think these tools are wonderful. Frankly, I mean, we're really enjoying the work that we do, and I think we'll continue to add value.
I'm with you. I'm super excited about it. Super excited. And with a certain amount of trepidation. Listen, I have a funny question for you. So, as a business leader, do you think there's going to be massive job loss and people will be unemployed as a result of AI? Well, how do you approach that question?
I think in the legacy of the industry that we have is that we, as in the media business, and this is where we focus mainly on the media business, or the media and agency, is that we have taken middle class humanities graduates and paid them good salaries and put them in shiny offices in downtown metropolitan cities around the world, and we've sold that as a product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. we haven't sold, and I say we, I'm talking about, and I think this is our view of
business
the
at
media.
large.
And
Business,
it's
you're
been,
saying.
and this is, and I literally been saying this for like 10 years. It's kind of weird that we encourage everybody, this is pre-pandemic, weird that we can only opt to activate media in these metropolitan cities around the world. And we bring them all into cities and we put them in these big shiny glass buildings and we serve beautiful tea and coffee and flowers and we do all that thing. It's a customer experience, but it's just really a customer experience of people. That is destroyed by technology because 90% of all of that work that's being done can be done in a better way. We were absolutely assuming that at some point media, the discipline of media planning, buying, optimization should be outsourced, sent overseas, managed, as we'd said, Group M, as it should be, as it was called, which was the kind of the big media buying organization, part of WPP. Why is Group M not a giant warehouse of data people somewhere in the middle of nowhere? Like, it has no need to be in the World Trade Center, some of the most expensive real estate in the world. It makes zero sense. So unfortunately, because those businesses have perpetuated just basically selling people's time and quite expensive people's time, they have radically changed. So unfortunately, huge layoffs likely through media as it gets replaced by technology. But the problem I'm fear of is that we lose a service layer of human relationships. And so that's where I'm really interested, where we play, probably the same for you, right? Is that there's still human interaction and learning.
I want to put forward an alternative theory. So I've heard a lot of people, we're going to lose jobs, And I've told my team, I says, no, you're not going to lose your job, but I will replace you if you don't learn AI. I'm the evil one, not AI. I'm the one who's going to get rid of you. You don't learn this stuff and start to apply it on behalf of my members. We have an obligation to use their monies. Okay. Here's the thing. Tom, let me ask you, you're CEO. How many ideas do you have that you don't execute against now? I got a billion things I'd love to execute if I had more resources. I have a number of things I would go do. So my point is, just because I create efficiency doesn't mean I keep the company steady and I get rid of it. No, I look back at the list and I go, oh my God, I got 3 more things I can now get to and we can work on that we couldn't do before because we didn't have the resource, we didn't have the time, we didn't have the inclination, we didn't have the staff.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the job loss thing is dumb. Your job loss is not. It's like if you didn't learn Excel and PowerPoint. I mean, we'd fire you for that today. Absolutely, if you didn't know those things.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm saying, like, people, we have to learn this stuff. We have to do it. And trust me, I got 10 other ideas that I want to go do. So let's go.
Yeah. I always, because if you're a CEO or an entrepreneur or founder,
that's the job.
You can't stop. You've got those thinking, but I'm loving the last 2 years. I'm able to implement. To your point,
Correct.
You look at that list and think, I could do 5 of those things this year. That's really good.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. And certainly in our business, we plan on growing people, but we have to supercharge them with AI to be able to do more. I just think that within the current agency setup, there's a purge that is going on, I think, and unfortunately, I think they've been too people heavy, perhaps too long, maybe with good intent, tried to. So I think will be huge disruption. It's encouraging for young people coming into the industry. I mean, we've got young kids and they don't want to learn.
My children are working age. I've told them I got a son. Oh, here's a pitch to your audience, by the way. I have a son. He's at Cornell. So that's a little humble brag. But my kid's at Cornell, and he's working on the generative AI club there. And he worked in the agentic AI business for the summer, right, as an intern. There's somebody for the audience to go hire. He's available. So I'll make him available. So somebody's ready. We're always pitch our kids.
Great. Okay. I'm not far from Cornell. What I always love asking this question is because there will be somebody watching this, I'm sure, talking about job opportunities, who says, you know what, I really like the idea of working for a trade association, either now at some point in my career.
Yeah.
What's your advice? How do you get into it? What kind of person what kind of people do you need in trade associations?
Okay. Great question. So first off, if you are interested in a job opportunity, please write me, Greg at MMAglobal.com. That's just my first name, MMAglobal.com. I am hiring, and I will be aggressively hiring. So I think to get into business, you just have to
There's a
have
great guy
domain.
at Cornell, I understand, who's
Yeah, well, that's a little
yeah.
nepotism there. What's the phrase? A foot in the door and so much more. I think is the sort of nepotism phrase, right? So, the Nepo Club. No, listen. So if you're interested, I think you just have to have domain expertise, have an understanding of an industry. I mean, we hire the same thing that sort of everybody does. I mean, I have marketing operations people. I tend to hire a lot of strategy consultants here. I like that for the kinds of work that we do in the think tanks and so on. So I think, the only thing I'd say, here's the only caution I give, you kind of want to make sure too that you're talented, because the challenge in both small companies and in particular trade associations is that if you're not talented, it can get highlighted in these kinds of situations and you can get yourself bounced out, because you need to garner the respect, not just of the team, but of the members too sometimes. And so, they're not placed, and MMA is very far. I mean, I don't really like that my whole earlier comments. I don't like the notion of nonprofits. I like the idea of really creating seismic legacy making change in an industry and having a sense of mission and purpose. And so if that you think is relevant to you, and you can call any trade association, but if you also want to work hard but do good work that matters, then yes, please reach out to me.
Very good. Please. Okay. Well, we'll link to that below the episode anyway, to make that easy for people to kind of click and get hold of you if they're interested in supporting, joining, advocating for MMA. Very good. Okay. We've covered quite a lot. 3 kind of quick ones to finish up, as always, Greg. So, best leadership advice you've ever received or that you still give to people?
Okay. You can't save your ass and your face at the same time. So when you're in trouble, save your ass. Don't try to look good doing it. Just get the job done.
I love that. That's good. I've never heard that one. I like that. Outside of work, passions, where would we find you?
I'll be quite frank with you. I really don't have many. I really don't. I have a wife that I adore. I have a family that's great. I have a couple of nice residences, I enjoy my life where I am. That's what's the luckiness for my life today. I do love to travel. But I don't know. I have an opportunity to go change the world. I have an opportunity to fix an industry, and I'm determined to do that. So all my time is dedicated there, Tom. Yeah.
Very good. And I'm looking forward to this. The final question I always ask everybody. It's just looking ahead. Now, I feel like you're in the business, maybe similar to we are. You're in the business of trust, which is a great rarity.
Yeah.
But also, you can't help being in the business of optimism. We're giving people hope. So, a year from now, there's a lot that's kind of challenging and threatening in the industry. But a year from now, what do you maybe hope that we will have achieved? How can we be better in 12 months?
I mean, I kind of set it up. I'll go back to that. And it's not a year. It's going to take longer than that. We need to become a profession. I love marketing. It's all I ever wanted to do since I was a kid. It's all I've ever done in my entire career. It's all I'm obviously ever going to do at my age. I'd like to leave the industry better than I started in it. And I think I've got a big opportunity to do that. So for me, it's all about what can I do to create positive change? Now, if you're asking me for people's advice, 3 things. Learn AI. Learn AI. Learn AI. You have, if you dominate that, and I will pay any amount of money to hire if you're good at that stuff. I don't care. I just need that talent as much as I can get.
Very good. I love that. What a great way to end. Greg Stuart, CEO of MMA. Thank you so much for joining us on Media Snack Winners.
You bet, Tom. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Media Snack. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review and remember to like and subscribe on YouTube.
And we love hearing your comments, so please don't be shy in the comments section below.
That's it for now. See you next time on Media Snack.